to GP&P, God's Prodigy and Property. I haven't been on in a while. Like I said, I don't release a word every day. I usually release a word when God releases me to release a word. So today, right now, we're going to pray first before I jump into this awesome word. I got a word for y'all. Some of this God been putting on my heart, and He just like, get it out. So I'm coming to get it out. And of course, I'm tired, y'all. I've been working all week, and I'm tired, but I'm gonna get this word out because God is pressing the issue. Heavenly Father, I just ask that you cover this live with your precious blood. Let this word get out to the people that it needs to get out to. Anoint my voice, anoint my tongue, anoint my heart, and let your will flow through me and on me and reach and touch the people, and let there be no backlash or retaliation from the enemy for me releasing this word. So my GP&P family, today we're going to talk about denying your flesh and temptation. Okay, we're going to talk about denying your flesh, temptation, and free will. So, um, God has some of us in a space where um, we have spiritually grown, mature enough to turn our back away from sin. And He's given us free will. Okay, we all have free will. We all know we have choices that come with certain sin, period. And we basically have to say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to constantly live for God no matter how much hard this is. I'm going to deny my flesh. And denying your flesh can come in a lot of different ways. Like if you're a person that struggle with lust, um, just looking at different men or looking at different women, or having extramarital affairs, or cheating, or engaging in pornography and things like that. Um, that's temptation of the flesh. If you're a person who has poor money management skills, and every time you see something new or something new comes out, you have to buy it, and then you look up, you don't have enough money for certain things like bills, or you don't have anything in your savings because you're frivolous with your money and your finances and the things that God blesses you with. And then you're in a rut and you like, God, why you don't bless me? Why you don't bless me? It's because you're not a good steward of your finances, and you can't even handle and micromanage the blessings that God has already given you. So when you say, God, why you don't bless me? Why you don't bless me? Why would He give you more and you can't even micromanage and handle the blessings, the job, or the finances that He's giving you already? So that's where denying our flesh comes in, that like being a good steward of your finances. Like, okay, I like this thing, I really see it and I like it and I want to buy it, but I'm denying my flesh because it's not a necessity, it's not a need, I don't need it right now. And the big ordeal of it is you're storing up treasures for this earthly realm. We can't take none of this stuff to heaven with us. Yes, God wants us to enjoy things, but He doesn't want us to idolize it. And He doesn't want us to like, oh, I have to have this, I have to have this. Hello, hi, my GP&P family. So He doesn't want us to idolize things and like, oh, I have to have this right now, I have to have this right now. And then you can't George W. Bush, you know what? Don't get on my lab with that. This is a godly channel. And you know what? If I had a moderator, you would be blocked on here for real. Don't come on my channel playing. This is a godly channel. So let's get on here and keep it respectful, or you can politely exit the door. So if you're not a good steward of your finances and the blessings that God gives you, don't ask Him for more, because He's not going to give you more. So again, this live is about denying your flesh and having free will. Okay, so God gives us free will to make decisions, and some of us have reached a level of spiritual maturity to where He feels like we're accountable enough to turn things down and say no, and that we will live for Him and serve Him. And if you're a person that struggles with like lust, mismanagement of your money, or let's say idolatry, or just any type of sin. You know, you have, like Corinthians 10:13 says, there is no temptation so strong enough that you can't escape it or you can't get out of it. God gives us a way of escape. Okay? If you're a person that has extramarital affairs and you want to be faithful, you want to love your spouse, you want to be the spouse that your wife or your husband has called you to be, you know not to put yourself in situations that will lead you to a road of temptation that will cause you to sin and commit adultery. You know, when you manage your finances, not to do certain things that will cause you to be broke and not have anything in your savings, or that will ultimately lead to you not being a good steward in your finances. So a lot of us in this season, God is giving us free will to choose righteousness, and he's given us free will to decide if we're going to deny our flesh or if we're going to keep on living in the same old sin and keep on repeating the same old mistakes. And I'm going to tell y'all, a lot of y'all this season, he's giving you free will to deny your flesh. So this is going to determine your next level of elevation. This is going to determine your next level of elevation and your next level blessing that he has for you. And if you cannot pass this simple test, you're going to ultimately beat yourself out of that blessing. He's trying to entrust you with more. So he's trying to see exactly what you're going to do. So I'm going to say whatever that thing is that's your thing, that's your sin, that's your weakest temptation that you struggle with, I'm going to need you to practice on that, fast on that. And that's another thing he's saying, fast. Because some of these sins, you can only get rid of them through fasting. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, it's not something that you could tackle on your own. It has to come through prayer and fasting and constant discipline, self-discipline. You have to have constant self-discipline to overcome this thing, whatever that is for you. Okay, so for you to get to your next level blessing, God is saying you have to deny your flesh and you have to come to a place of righteousness. And he's giving you free will. So you have a choice. You have a choice. And with this choice, like I said, it's because you're spiritually mature enough to know right from wrong, period. So he's saying you have a choice and he's giving you free will. And some of you have gotten yourselves in situations where you like, oh God, I got myself here. Please come save me. Please come save me. Get me out, get me out, get me out. Well, this is where the free will is coming in at. Because now he wants you to make a bold move to get yourself out of that situation and turn away from it and serve him. He wants you to take up your cross and follow him daily and strive for righteousness daily. Okay, so that's the word he wanted me to put out. We all have free will. He's leading us into a place of righteousness on a spiritual level, on a mental level, on an emotional level. Some of us, he wants to open our eyes and ears. Some of us, he's using your voice, he's using your eyes, your discernment, your revelation, and your wisdom to take you into the next level of your next blessing. So a lot of you all denying your flesh and walking in righteousness is connected to your next blessing. Your free will is connected to your next blessing. How you handle your free will, how you manage your free will is connected to your next blessing and level of elevation. Okay? He wants to see how much you can handle and how much you can't handle, and can he trust you? So that's the word that I have for y'all today. Go look up Corinthians 10:13. Try to get disciplined. Fast if you need to. Do a Daniel fast. Do an Esther fast. And let's start denying our flesh. Anything that calls us that we know is wrong, that we're not supposed to be doing, the flesh is weak, okay? The flesh will have your feet moving and your hands moving and your lips talking, into a situation before you even can think fast enough to say no. So use y'all discernment, use y'all's wisdom, call on God in moments of weakness, and let's start, doing what we got to do to walk in righteousness and taking up our cross and following him. Because a lot of y'all's free will and denying your flesh is the next level for your elevation and your blessing. And those of you that are not micromanaging your finances, or that are not doing what you have to do in your free will, and some people be like, oh, God's grace is sufficient, or he's a forgiving God, and he's this and he's that. But you also see in the Bible where he tells the people, depart from me, for I never knew you. And some of you all we're getting to a place where God is going to be like, depart from me, I never knew you, because you're constantly using your free will and using God's grace to sin. Okay, you cannot use his grace to constantly abound in sin. He said, how long will you sin and think that grace may abound and keep holding you up? How long do you think grace is going to hold you up? Because you're indulging in sin and you're using my grace as a means to sin, because you feel like, oh, I'm going to keep forgiving you, I'm going to keep forgiving you, I'm going to keep forgiving you. Now, don't get me wrong. God's grace is sufficient, and he is a forgiving God, and he is a loving God, and he is an understanding God. But he also sees the heart. And just like we don't like to be used, we don't like to be ran over, we don't like people to take us for granted, God doesn't like to be taken for granted. God doesn't like to be used. His grace is sufficient, but it's not there for us to sin constantly and to keep on sinning and think grace is going to abound. Because like he told the apostles in the Bible, depart from me, I never knew you. Because they kept on sinning. They kept on sinning. They kept on sinning. So you have free will. Your free will and your denying of your flesh is connected to your next level of elevation and your next blessing. It's connected to that. So in this season, God wants to see how much he can entrust you with. How much are you willing to sacrifice? How much are you willing to lay your life of sin down and follow him and trust him wholeheartedly and deny yourself of what you want and instead live more for him and what he wants? Trust him with your life. Like he wants you to trust him with your life. Trust him with every problem. Trust him with every circumstances. People is out here, they scamming, they sinning, they doing whatever they can. They moving out of desperation and out of anxiety because they're in a messed up situation, and they's like, oh, desperate situation calls for desperate measures. No. Don't allow the enemy to make you feel like you have to do certain things that are not lined up with God's will and what he wants for us and how he wants us to live. So take up your cross, y'all. Follow God. Deny your flesh. Fast. You have the free will to choose righteousness and whom you will serve this day. Okay? I take my moment day by day, right? So if I'm in a situation and I'm like, nope, immediately kick in. That ain't right by God. He don't want me to do that. I'm not going to do it. I immediately deny my flesh. And I ask God, give me a way of escape. Get me out of this situation. If I'm not strong enough, Lord, get me out of this situation. Help me deny my flesh. Help me get away from this so I don't participate in this. Gossip, I don't participate in it. Okay? I don't want to be in gossip. I don't want to be fornicating. I'm a person that I struggled with lust a lot. I struggled with lust a lot. Lust was one of my biggest sins. At one point, God brought me to the spirit of witchcraft to show me what witchcraft was, so I could learn how to pray against it. But what happened was I wound up falling into that sin. So that was bad. I was a person, I struggled with lust, I struggled with witchcraft, I struggled with a lot of different sins, but God introduced me to these sins so that when I came across them in the spirit, I would be able to identify them and know how to pray against them, okay? So now when I see these people, they walking around wearing their crystals or they getting tarot card readings, the flesh is like, go get your tarot card reading done, or go buy this crystal. You know that used to be your favorite crystal. That's the enemy. That's the enemy. And you know what? I click right off those channels, and I don't surround myself in that type of environment. I might have seen a dude like, oh, this dude is fine. Like, man, I want to go out with him. I want to do this, that, and the third with him. Because that's the flesh talking. That's the flesh talking. And the more you deny your flesh, like, the stronger you will get with time. You do get stronger with time, and it'll become easier, become a breeze for you. And then you'll see the enemy trying to throw other things at you. You be like, where that come from? That came out the woodworks. Now, I'm not even interested in no stuff like that. But he'll stop sending what you're used to and start sending things that you aren't used to capture your attention, to trick you back into a life of sin. Because the enemy is crafty, okay? He's very crafty, and this is what he does. I learned that when I started denying my flesh and stopped feeding into things that I used to indulge in when I was in a life of sin, when it got easy for me to turn it down and walk away from it, here come the enemy sending something else. Sending something else. He sent the even more finer man. He sent somebody that, I'm like, oh, he got all the money in the world. He fine, the total package. Trying to drag me back into that life of sin. Have me over here fornicating with this man. Ruining my whole life. Got me all in my feelings, upside down and sideways. Trying to ruin my life and distract me and throw me off course. Throw me off course and have me outside of the will of God. The enemy will do anything to have us outside of the will of God, okay? And sometimes God brings us to certain spirits and across certain people so we can pray for them. And so we know when we see that spirit how to pray against it, okay? Sometimes God don't bring you into things to feed into the sin. But we all people, and we all sin, and we all fall short of the glory of God. But this is the season where he wants us to buckle down, pay attention, be alert to the crafty things that the enemy does to keep us stuck in a life of sin, and learn how to deny our flesh and take up our cross and walk with him. This is the season where he's looking for his people that are going to obey, okay? And I'm going to talk more about this because I feel like this is such a strong subject that can lead the people to righteousness, okay? And people think like, oh, I have to stop doing this, I have to stop doing that, I have to put my whole life on hold. And they walk in fear serving God. But God doesn't want us to be in fear while serving him. That's not the key. That's not what he's trying to do. He's trying to keep us as pure as possible and help us not to give the enemy access to our lives. Because the enemy is crafty again, and he likes to throw things there to have access to our lives so he can have territory and boundaries to touch our blessings. And that's the only thing God is trying to do, is stop the enemy from having territory and dominion to operate in our lives, okay? So, y'all, it's going to be okay. We're going to talk about this more because I need to dive deeper into this. I'm at a stage right now where God is, he's got me at that free will stage. Like, are you going to deny your flesh, or are you just going to keep on living in sin and thinking that grace going bound and you could keep saying, Lord, forgive me, Lord, forgive me? No. He like, you going to choose this day, and you going to choose, and what you going to do? You either on that side or you on this side. Ain't no back and forth. Yes, my grace is sufficient, but it's not there for you to keep on sinning and thinking that you can get away and living your best life and doing what you want to do. And as I've come to know, like, sin get us in a lot of trouble, y'all. Like, I've been in so much trouble. When I say, baby, I gotta be God's worst child, okay? Because I done been in some stuff, okay? Like right now, I've been celibate for a long time, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy about it. And because first of all, the dating scene out here is trash. We just gonna say that. I don't know what's going on with this generation and the dating and the I don't want no kingdom spouse. Just give me and God. That's it. That's it. That's all. I don't want to cry no more. I don't want to play no more. I don't want to. No. I don't want to do any of that, okay? Because Hot Girl Summer was for me every year, okay? I was a trip, y'all. I was really, on a serious note, I'm laughing and joking, but on a serious note, I was really something else, okay? I really was. And I just thank God for delivering me from that, you know? Also, God is like denying the flesh when it comes to fear and anxiety. He wants us to stand on his word and remember that he has come to give us peace. He has not given us a spirit of fear. He has not given us a spirit of anxiety. He wants us to stand on the word and believe what he says about us and not the thoughts that the enemy tries to implant in our minds and in our hearts to keep us in fear and keep us worried, okay? So it's so many levels to this when it comes to denying your flesh. What about when it comes to denying your thoughts? Thoughts that don't line up with the thoughts of God or his word, okay? This goes deep. That's why I said I'm going to get back into this and do a part 2 to this, because this stuff needs to be talked about, because we need to expose the enemy and the demonic forces and entities and spirits that he's using to operate in our lives and around us and in our environment, okay? We need to expose him and kick him out. For real. So, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for everyone just watching my live and supporting my live. If you need prayer, if you need intercession, if you need a coaching, those services are free. I don't ask people to pay me for that kind of stuff. Because when God went around giving his word out and healing people and laying hands on people and praying for people and interceding people, he didn't charge them for that, okay? So if you need any of those services, you can inbox me, comment in the comment section, leave your name, or just inbox me, email me. I believe I have it up on my YouTube page, and I will gladly intercede for you and pray for you. And if you just need somebody to talk to about life problems, this is a no judgment zone. I don't judge people, because we all sin, we all have messed up situations, we all have done messed up things, and we all have fallen short of God's glory. So nobody is better than the next person, okay? God doesn't send us here to judge people or to, say, oh, I wouldn't do that. You don't know what you would do until you get in a situation. You don't know what you would do, so I'm just not that person for that. It's all love and peace and happiness and good vibes over here, and no judgment zone. But we keep it real and we keep it respectful over here, okay? So thank you all for tuning in, and I'm going to come back with a part 2 video about this, and I'm going to try to decipher and break down every single thing that we could possibly struggle with when it comes to sin, and come up with something on how we can tackle these demons and get our life free, to stop Satan from being able to roam free and have dominion over certain areas or every area of our life pretty much. So thank y'all for tuning in, and I hope this word reaches you all. Share it, like, subscribe, and thank y'all for tuning in. Come back to God's prodigy and property, okay? And also, if you haven't noticed on my page, I did write a book when I was in prison last year. It's called From the Pit to the Palace, and it talks about my Joseph and Job moments and how God took me through various trials and tribulations and how he brought me out of them all. And currently, I'm doing a part 2 where it talks about me being homeless and how I've been sleeping on the ground and how I have to come to work every day and I'm barely making ends meet and I'm just going through a lot. So just know that y'all out there that are going through problems and hard times, you're not going through it alone. Literally, I'm at work right now. I have to come to work 5 hours early to make it on time, to make my shift. And then when I leave work, I'm back outside again doing whatever I need to do to make it throughout the day. Okay? So y'all got this, we got this, and we gonna be all right. Enjoy y'all evening. I will tune back in with y'all tomorrow. Bye.